What about the job market actually is very competitive. There might be a few people doing what we have shared earlier, like they shared their smart strategy on how to tackle the role. So how do we really stand out from the rest of the candidates and be the chosen one for the job? Is
Okay,
there
this
any like
one,
strategy to do it?
I think for me, what I often advise people or share with them is that I think, okay, the individual, right, is an individual that you can't change much about his career already. Like if you do this role, you do this role. Cannot be that you do this role, then you also do other thing. So I think one thing that you need to stand out, right, is the way how you articulate, the way how you actually share your job responsibilities, okay? And also, right, you need to know the role that you're going for, right? What is this role all about? Like, what is this role all about? In the sense that, okay, let's say you talk about sales job. Okay, the sales job is actually to cover oil and gas. So in terms of your speech, right, you need to also talk about how involvement are you in the oil and gas industry that you can create an immediate contribution to the company that you're going for or the role that you're going for. So let me share you an example. If the company that you're going for is the oil and gas industry, of course, it can be like IT industry, oil and gas, or anything that you're going for. You need to relate in terms of what contribution that you can bring immediate contribution to the role itself. So you need to share like, okay, for oil and gas industry, I'm very well versed in this product. I'm very well versed in the oil and gas market. And oftentimes, right, salespeople, the company will want this person to know about who do you know in the market. So what kind of stakeholders people have you managed before? Okay. So once you get all that ready, right, you already relate the job matching ready. You need to kind of like pour your value in terms of this role that the company is hiring for. And then you slowly share about all the story that I mentioned before on how do you wanted to create an impact to make sure that when you go in the company or when the person hire you, the person can bring immediate contribution to the role. So you must always relate to the job role that you're going for. That means you need to like Google, you need to do more research. You need to even find out like this hiring manager, right? Who is this person? Which you can check through LinkedIn. Lah. Like, okay, this person actually worked in a company for 4 years. Oh, previously, the person came from this company. Okay, is there any things that I can share, right, that is relatable to his experience or relatable to his industries that you're in? Since you know that the role is already in the oil and gas, right? Share more about oil and gas industry. So don't share like, oh, I do other thing, I do this, but not oil and gas. But the role is actually hiring for oil and gas. So same goes to like any other roles that you are going for. Like let's say it's IT, you're talking about C++, you're talking about Python. Relate it to the job role that you have done so far. So when you wanted to gather the information of the role, I think you can do a little bit of research, like research back into the job description. You can ask the recruiter, what does this role is solving? What does this role is doing? What is the org chart? How many people are there? Where are you going to be, right, when you work in this company? Because when you go to work for a company, right, there is always a colleague in front of you, around you, right? You need to know where is this position or where are you fitting in. Then, of course, when you go to the interview, you need to ask a lot of questions lah, to promote engagement, to promote articulation, ask more questions about the job role, so on and so forth. So when you create this engagement, right, I would say it actually creates a lot of positivity if, let's say, the hiring manager wanted to go forward with you. So this is like so-called the job responsibility, but a lot of things you need to do also pay attention is the way how you structure yourself. Um, don't be an low energy kind of interviewee. When you go there, you just share your job, very low voice, no exciting, no engagement. Then when it comes to questioning technique, right? Prepare a very good question to ask the hiring manager. Do not end the interview without asking any question. And please, a lot of people ask about salary, what time start work, Saturday got work or not, what time OT got money or not. Don't ask that. Ask about the role itself. Yeah, but of course, when asking questions about the role, there's many questions that you can ask, lah. Like, what is your visions and everything. So I think try to relate as much as you can into the role. Don't go to the interview very blindly. I've seen a lot of people like they go for interview, right? Just go there to share what I'm doing lah. No, it will not create an impact. You need to relate it. And I would say, right, when you go for interview or anybody who goes for interview, it takes experience also. Yeah.
Really interesting take on that. You give us a lot of golden nuggets whereby I never thought of the interview needs to have a thorough preparation, even to research the background of who are you, the person who is interviewing you, and of course prepare some good questions. Those are very good tips that you have shared. Thank you so much. And what
Yeah.
about the if we are during the interview, right? Are there any red flags that we should be aware about the company? Maybe the person who wanted to hire you asked something that sounds fishy, and then maybe that is a no job for us to pursue. Is there any such thing?
Yeah. I think red flags, I believe when you go for interview, you can check their Glassdoor. How is their Google review? A lot of people can actually post a lot of either it's negative or positive about the company. So you can see how is it the comment of the people who works inside the company. Secondly, I think you can also research about the hiring manager, whether the hiring managers just joined less than a year, 6 months, or less, or just joined like 2 months prior to interview you. So you can ask the hiring manager, I think you just joined, right? What happened in this situation? Because when you join a company that the hiring manager is just 2 months old, right? I think a lot of things you need to think about as well. Whether it's an expansion role, whether it's a replacement role. If it's a new role, you need to take note, okay, what are they going to do with this role? Is it more like increasing manpower, or is it someone left, or they want to get rid of a person internally? All these informations, right, they will not share during the interview. You need to you need to kind of like learn how to do it. And second thing is very vague job description. Very vague job description. Meaning to say, right, when you go for interview, how come you ask me this? Then later you ask me that. Then later you ask me that question. Actually, what's this role all about? So once the hiring manager started to share, you can see, you need to assess the hiring manager. Is he sharing the job description in a very confident way? Or sometimes hiring manager, like, I don't know why is he sharing. Could be also. So that is a red flag that you need to monitor also. And third, you can also see is poor interview experience. Hiring manager late, no feedback. Some hiring managers use very disrespectful communication style. Like straight away come in, straight away ask you, okay, tell me about yourself. Then cut you off as well. You can see that because this hiring manager is the person that you're going to report to, right? So you need to also see how is his personality. And oftentimes hiring manager, right, can come in a very different format. Some is very nice. Some are, I only want to know about you. I don't care about others. And third is, I want to know what you can bring me or what contribution that you can bring, right, without even understand you. The communication style of the hiring manager. And last but not least, unrealistic expectation. So during the interviews, right, I'm sure that a lot of candidates and hiring manager will talk about expectation. So if you feel that this expectation is a bit like like a bit crazy or unrealistic, right? Then you need to also take note really. Is this a job okay for me to join? What if I join and then suddenly the expectation is like cannot be done by me? Then ended up you're going to waste your time working in a company, or maybe the experience that you have there is a bad one. Yeah, so a lot of red flags. And I can keep going on. Like you can see the way how they function as a company. You can see how welcome are they in the interview session, if whether they treat everyone in a very good manner or good respect as well. Or sometimes when you go in there, right, how is the atmosphere of the whole company? You can feel one. Whether is it very, very rigid or a lot of things, like you can feel whether the interview experience that you have is actually a good one or a bad one. Okay. And another thing you can also see that is how responsive they are, how is their communication with you, all that. But that is beside all the job responsibility. Job responsibility, I think the individual have to really drill down by himself or herself about whether you can do or cannot do. Yeah. So all these red flags, you just have to take note about it because it will form a certain judgment on the individual. And last but not least, try to ask people around the industry. Because let's say you are in the oil and gas industry or chemical industry, I'm sure that you will know people that knows about this company or this hiring manager. Be proactive to ask more about whether working with this person, is it okay, not okay, how is it? Because they're still another human being, right? I'm sure that information can be found out. How is the company? Is it a lot of people keep leaving? Can check one. Or people who work there stay there very long? Can check one. How is the top management? How is the leadership? Who is the highest position in the company? Can check Google also. LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the one that you can see how often they post, um, how people, I mean, like the people inside there, how long they work, you can see one. How is their career progression style? All this you can check and you can already form a certain conclusion lah, whether this company is worth going or not worth going.
That's
Yeah.
true. We always wanted to go for a better job opportunity, so it's good to check on the company before we jump into it.